Hey, it's me, Sharii Marie, and welcome to my podcast, Sharii. Hey, it's me, Sharii Marie, and welcome back to my podcast, Motivate Me, Sharii. So for those of you who don't know, I'm just your normal single mom. I work a full-time job, and probably about 5 years ago, I realized I have the gift of gab. I like to talk and people like to listen. So hopefully I can inspire you or someone you know. So today we got my girl, Tysha. Say hello.
Hello. 04.
Yes, baby. Yes. We graduated together.
We showing up then.
Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, no problem at all.
I mean, when I asked you, I wasn't sure if you were going to be open to it because people have been through things, but that doesn't mean they're ready to expose them and really go in deep depth about them. You know what I mean? So for you to come on here and be willing to bear all and share your story, it means the world to me.
I knew it was going to happen one day.
Yes.
You know, I don't mind talking about it, but I knew it was going to be one day where I'll be on a mic.
Yes.
I really did. Like a year after it happened, I was asked to talk at a church function in front of women.
Okay.
But I didn't have the chance to do that because I was still in a state of mind to where I couldn't speak about it. But now, no.
You're ready.
I'm ready.
You are so ready.
I'm ready. I'm here to say it. So
Hey, there you go. You live to tell.
Yeah.
So
most definitely.
Okay, so let's start fresh for anybody who doesn't know. Who is Tysha Yocum? Do you got kids? Where were you born? Where were you raised?
Yes,
all that good stuff.
I was born in Lebanon, Kentucky. Raised in Springfield, but kind of like, bounced around a little bit here and there. But where I met you guys at is when I came to Barsham in 6th grade, and then I left again. Then I came back, and then I was a freshman at Bethlehem, and then I started my sophomore year all the way till I graduated at Barsham.
Yes, you did.
So that's how I kind of, end up knowing everybody and everything. But I do. I have 3 kids, 3 wonderful kids. A lot of y'all know Nemo. He goes by, he's Nehemiah, but he goes by Nemo, right? My baby's about to graduate this year, so I'm so very happy about that one. I know.
Girl, I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
Ugly. I can't wait. I'm going to be ugly.
A hot mess. Tears. Just thinking about it. Caden's constantly talking about him. Constantly. I want to go to Nemo's house. And for the longest, I had no idea he was your kid. Same as Desire.
Yeah.
She came and spent Buttermilk Day with us. We all went shopping. We went here and there. And then we went to drop her off, and I seen the car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold on. Who's your mama? And she was like, Tysha. I said, oh, Lord, here I've been dropping you off, and I could have went inside. Like, I really went inside.
Yeah, Yep.
So how old is your youngest?
My youngest is 5. He just turned 5 in April.
Okay.
So and Desire, she just turned 14, and Nemo just turned 17 on the 27th of this month.
So you got a big gap.
I got a big gap. But I always knew that I wanted 3 children.
Oh, okay.
And, it just happened to be after that circumstance, but it, literally, yeah.
You knew.
Yeah.
You knew.
I knew I was going to always have 3.
See?
I always knew I was going to have 3.
You make me feel like the whole possibility of me having another one later on in life isn't out of the question.
Right.
I have a large gap if I was to go there, but I've had people that say one or the other. I've had some people be like, girl, don't you do it. Don't you start all over again. But then I've had people who are like, if that's what you want, he'll be a good babysitter. At least he'll be at that age to where he can help upbring that little one.
And my 2 are the best. Yes. You know what I'm saying? They let me do my thing as far as, being adult and have fun, with my friends and stuff like that. And then, of course, I have to make sure that they are more than, how can I say it? They have to have their freedom as children, right? Awesome. So even though they do help me, they know when I'm sleepy, I'm on my medication, because of my health and stuff like that. So, Mama, you can go ahead and lay down a little bit, stuff like that. But at the same time, they get to be kids.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like I can't shelter them in that type of way. So I'm very blessed with what I have and who I have in my life as far as my children. I swear they're the best. I hate when they don't when they have to go to school.
Yes, me
I can't stand it. I love my babies to be around me.
Yes, I have a hard time when Caden goes to PJ's. I'm like, are you coming home yet? He's like, at? Mama, I was just there like 24 hours ago. And I'm like, but you are my life.
Right.
You are my life.
Right.
So I want to wake up to you, go to sleep to you. So even though I'm so blessed that he has a relationship with both of us and he sees both his parents on a daily basis when he is not at home,
right,
I don't feel complete.
Yeah, I don't either. Like my son, he's like I say, he's just turned 17, and you know we work at the same place over at Burger King, whatever. That's my part-time job while I do my business and do everything else.
Right.
And so like he calls me mommy, and everybody looks at me like, you still call her mommy? I said, this baby will be in my lap and lay with me at night and hug me and make sure that I'm okay. My baby has been through the waters with me. That was my firstborn.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I was 20 when I had him. So he's, I mean.
Yes, I know. I was 21 when I had Caden. It's a bond that's unbreakable.
It really is. It really is.
Nothing like it. Okay, so tell us a little bit about what you experienced.
As far as back in 2016?
Yes. So when did the relationship start?
Okay, so what a whole lot of people was rumoring. I don't even know if that's even the word. But
hey, we're going to make it a word.
We're going to make it a word. But what, okay, let me just say this. Some people was gossiping about.
There we go.
Yeah, that was weird, rumoring. That is not a word. What people was gossiping about is that they was like, oh, you met him online and all of a sudden, boom. The thing about it is that where I used to live at before I came back to Barstown, was it before, either after? I can't really remember. But the 6th grade time frame. I actually knew him.
Okay.
In another town. I was friends with his sisters.
Okay.
Stuff like that. So I actually known him ever since I was 10.
Ah.
We just happened to reconnect on Facebook.
Okay.
And message each other, blah, blah, blah. And
that's just about everybody, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's what Facebook is.
Yeah, exactly.
Reconnect.
So ended up being that way, you know, of course, seen him, came back, relationship started, right? It didn't really get bad until probably like 2-3 weeks before Buttermilk, because that's why Buttermilk weekend, I don't go to Buttermilk.
Okay.
And I'm just be real with it.
Right,
the first time that I actually went back to Buttermilk was maybe a year or so after it happened. Okay. Because when it happened, it was the Friday, the beginning of that weekend of Buttermilk.
Okay.
And that's when I worked at a TBA, and I had just gotten off of work when that happened. But kind of backstory, to be very real and honest, I was getting hit before.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't like bad. Okay, getting hit is bad, let me put it that way. But it wasn't like an everyday occurrence.
Okay.
I started noticing some signs from him that he was just acting like really weird.
Okay.
But it started getting kind of physical.
Okay.
And you know, let's just put it this way: when you start getting hit, having the verbal abuse go on, the emotional abuse go on, let's just say that, you know, you will be part of that one person and be like, well, why didn't she get out? Why didn't he get out? Mm-hmm. The first emotion that you would get is being ashamed, being embarrassed.
Right.
You don't want nobody to know. You want to let the world know that you're happy.
Yes,
because
that you're strong.
Strong, you happy. Like, I mean, I was. Yeah. Like, I mean, he was doing stuff that I didn't get in prior relationship. You know what I'm saying? He was like, my kids wanted to go to him and, you know, stuff like that. It you know, it was just a whole lot of stuff. Right. But it was good. Happy, engaged. Everything was like whatever, right? And so like I just remember that I forgot exactly what the argument was about, but he ended up hitting me in my face. And I didn't get no bruises yet or nothing like that. It didn't show. But he just started acting really weird, and I got hit. And so when I got hit, it was like a little red, but I would play it off. I fell. You know, that's so weird because, you know, you watch movies or you watch whatever, and they will make some type of excuse. You know, you ran into something or you fell.
But to be living it yourself is a totally different.
Yeah.
And, you know, something you said earlier, emotional and verbal abuse, a lot of people sweep those under the rug.
Yeah. But those are the main red flags, and y'all have to understand that. That is the main, that's the first thing that you're going to get a hold of from someone. That's how people can really control you. It's not even the physical part yet.
Right.
It's that emotional abuse and that verbal abuse that they're giving you.
Right.
You know, and like I said, you feel embarrassed, you feel ashamed, you know, no, it's not going on, blah, blah, blah. But it did. Mm-hmm. So I ended up getting hit. I remember going to work, and I have a friend, I won't mention her name or nothing like that because I haven't talked to her that I was going to do this. But she was one of my coworkers, and I wouldn't say anything. And like at TBA, you have to like look over the doors, you know, make sure everything's good before you ship it off, all that kind of stuff. And what had happened is that I didn't want to say it. It's like, just look at me. I don't want to say it. I want you to figure it out. I don't want to mention anything. And she just kind of like kept looking, and she's like, did he hit you? And I just start crying.
Oh,
you know,
no.
and I'm still doing this, but I start crying. Like, finally somebody sees it. Even
somebody
though I'm not,
notices.
You know, yeah. And I'm not speaking it. I'm speaking about it. I'm not telling you, but I want you to see what has happened to me.
Right.
And, you know, prior to even that hit, I was at, what, honey?
We're going to have to end it.
Oh.
Tell them sorry.
Y'all. I love y'all.
That was a tease. That was a tease.
I got to go. But I started noticing it was a little bit of a jealousy with the person that I had seen before.
Okay.
Before him. And he would think that I was lying about the hours that I was coming home, but I was like literally working at night. It's like 5 in the morning, you know, depending on how busy we are or whatever like that. So I literally took that same friend and went to the time clock, took pictures. I said, you see this?
Yes.
Oh, is he keeping times on you? What's going on? This is what's going on so far. So after she noticed me, you know,
right,
without me saying it, you know, we did that. And she's like, Tysha, you know, we can't do this. You know, something's not right. So I don't know if it was that day or maybe a few days afterwards when all that happened. But I ended up getting off late, early in the morning. And I don't know, just something was not right.
Okay.
I knocked on the door. Nobody wasn't answering. And I think I had my key, but something just didn't seem right. Like, I don't know why I even knocked on the door that day, but I did.
Right.
And so I went in, and he was up. I'm like, you know, it's like almost 4 or 5 something in the morning. Like, why are you up?
Why are you awake?
And
what's really going on?
Yeah, seriously. And so I go in there. Again, I'm going to kind of like pause this a little bit because I have to recollect my thoughts because I end up getting diagnosed with PTSD. Okay. And depression, anxiety, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And so when it happens, one of the first signs, if anybody does not know, not really one of the first, but part of the symptoms of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is short-term memory loss. Mm-hmm. So there's some things that I try not to block out, but back then I did.
You did. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I blocked some of it out. I mean, even if it would be after the incident happened that people would like ask me questions and I would be in shock and I would literally, like I would pass out. Oh, like literally just pass out. And my mom, when she was with me, nursing me and everything out, like after I got out of the hospital, she would have to remind people that came and visit me, give her a moment.
Yes.
And then I would kind of like come back too.
Okay.
But with post-traumatic stress disorder, like I said, one of the symptoms is actually short-term memory loss. So I have to kind of like recollect as I'm telling the story a little bit. So I don't remember exactly what the situation was, but he was up. It was, like I said, it was a Friday and the kids had to go to school. And during that time, the kids, Nehemiah was in middle, Sissy was in elementary. Okay. Something like that, but they had to either go on 2 separate buses, 2 separate times. It was something like that. I think Sissy went first. Right. I think Nehemiah went next or whatever. It was something like that. And so we end up getting in some type of argument. It was something. He was supposed to cook something. It was something, right? Minimal. Yeah, minimal, but important. Okay. So we started going back and forth, and You can tell that he's been drinking. You can tell that he must have been on some type of drugs, which I ended up finding that he was. And he was doing a whole lot of stuff behind my back.
Okay.
And, I mean, found needle. I did.
Oh, wow.
You know, it was hidden, but I found it.
Right.
Then, so like we got into it, whatever like that. And I remember, and I'm going to show it just like this. I'm going to make sure my phone's turned down, but I'm going to do it just like this. I remember being on the side of the bed, and I was looking at my phone, and so, like I said, I didn't feel right when I walked in, right? So I have my phone, and I'm sitting on the side of the bed, and I didn't remember it then, but before, I will say this, before he broke my phone that night, and people telling me the story, I remembered it.
Okay.
But what I did was on Messenger, something didn't feel right. So what I did on Messenger is the person that mentioned about my eye, and then another person that I wouldn't mention, I sent them dots and like to be continued, like just dots. And I kept going with it. So they would text me back saying, you know, Tysha, you okay? What you doing?
What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on?
Yes.
But I didn't get to say anything. So
Like a sign for help.
Mm-hmm. Yep, because I just didn't feel right. So I sat there, and he saw that I was on the phone. Who you on the phone with? You know, blah, blah, blah. And he kind of like looked, and he took my phone. It was, you know, it was a smaller phone than that, and he literally picked it up, 2 hands, and went like that. He didn't break it all the way, but he broke it enough to where there was like a little bent, and it was crackling. I couldn't use my phone. Couldn't use my phone. The next thing that happened, he, because like I said, I already had the eye thing going on, so that was like a day or two prior. Then this is happening, but it's getting close to where my son has to get up to start getting ready to go on the bus. So he ends up getting up, and I had I think we knocked some stuff over because we ended up getting in a fight. So I think I knocked like a fan over. Or he knocked the fan. It was the fan's on the floor,
right?
And Nehemiah come in. He's like, you know, what's going on? What happened? And he's like 9, maybe 10, around that time, I think. And he goes and he asks what's going on, and I gave him some type of an excuse. And then I said, you know, we need to get ready so you can go to school. So he leaves. We say whatever to each other. And so I have to get him ready. What got me the most, when I say that God gives you signs.
Okay.
God gives you signs. So by me coming home from work, I don't feel comfortable already. I've already gotten hit. Mm-hmm. I've already, you know what I'm saying, I've already experienced, you know, so much of an abuse already.
Right.
So when I'm coming home, I don't want to come home. It's my own house. I don't even want to come home to it. Mm-hmm. But my children is there. Yes. You know what I'm saying? You got to come home. So fast forward, Nehemiah has to get ready. He's in the bedroom. And then I go out there and I'm about to get him to go on the bus. And I'll never forget it. I go right beside him. He's like, right on my left. I'm sitting beside him on my right. And I told him, I don't care where you at in life, you always take care of your sister. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like it just came out. It just came out. Like you always take care of your sister. Huh? You know, he's like, yeah. Yeah. You know, I always take care of your sister. I love you so much. I love you and your sister so much. Mm-hmm. Take care of your sister, you know? So he gets on the bus.
That came out of you for a reason.
It did.
Yes.
And I don't know where it came. I know where it came from.
Right.
But, you know, during that moment, it just came right on out.
Just came out.
Yeah, very freely. And so went, got him on the bus, came back in. I heard what you said to your son, is what he told me. And I'm like, yeah, because he should always take care of his sister no matter what, no matter where I'm at, you know, no matter what happens to me.
Yes.
He should always take care of his son. Take care of his sister, excuse me. And he's ready to go to the store. All right. Now, by this time, it's like a little bit after 7.
Okay.
So you can go get something to drink.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I go and getting him on the bus. He's saying he wants to go to the store. So there was this purse that someone just gave me that worked at TBA. And believe it or not, I picked up my Bible and put it in that purse. She just gave it to me. And that was the only thing I had was that Bible in that purse. Something told me to bring that too. So. Someone.
There we go. There we go.
How about that? Let me just change that up real quick. Yes. Like, I can say it now who and what guided me.
Right.
But back then, you just don't know. It's like it just comes out, So, so end up going to the car, and I'm ready to drive. Clearly you are not going to be able to.
Okay.
So I'm going to get in the car and I'm going to drive. So he comes out and he's like, he comes close to the driver's side door and he's wanting to drive. And I said, no, just let me drive. Just let me drive to the store and come back. He wanted to drive. He's very insistent that he drive. So, I went on and said no. And he said, oh, you just trying to show out here. Someone told me to blow my horn. Now, I kind of blame myself in this part of it. And the reason why I say I blame myself because when I blew my horn, of course, I'm trying to get attention from some type of neighbor around me.
Okay.
So when I blew my horn, it was, I'm pressing on it. So he didn't like that, of course, at all. So the next thing I know, he headbutts me. And he headbutts me from the side. So I kind of black out a little bit. But I kind of came to real quick, but it was like a quick, it's hitting you in your temple. So, your eyes kind of roll back. You kind of, you blank. Yeah, girl. So he headbutts me. And so I'm going over this side. So I had no other choice but to reach my, I have to climb over the console in the middle. So I climb over, but as I'm climbing over, he's trying to get in at the same time as me going over to the passenger side. So when I did that, I think that part, he bit my leg. So I have, you can't really see it now, but if I probably show you, okay, this is the circle, you'll be able to see it. But he bit my leg as my leg was traveling over. My left leg was, the console. So, cause he was trying to get in at the same time. So as he was trying to get in, my leg is over his body. Cause I'm trying to get over. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
So, that happened. So he bit my leg there. And then he, what did he do next? He sat there and, with my body being that direction, that's when he stabbed my hand. So I have a little stab wound right here. He eventually stabbed me here. I don't even know if anybody will be able to see that for real.
Oh, wow.
But he stabbed me here. And this arm, where I had it wrapped up and it was an infection, stuff like that, this arm is actually bigger than this arm right here.
Okay.
So, I have, a whole lot more room with this one, but I have a lot of scar tissue damage, too.
Okay.
But he stabbed me here, and bit me here. So everything on the left side is for me trying to position myself over where he headbutted me at. So from there, he backs out of the driveway because now he is driving. He backs out of the driveway and he's flooring it down the street. And back then we was living behind 84 Lumber.
Okay.
So moving out that way, he goes. We go down the street, and even during that time, I tried to get out of the car. So I'm trying to get myself out then, and he pushed me back in, pulled me back in. So we end up turning. So now we're in front of BJ's, and I remember my next door neighbor. He actually passed us and waved, and I'm like,
hello,
come get me.
Yes, please
come get
save me.
But nobody can tell. It's early in the morning. Everybody's going to school. Everybody's going to work or coming home from work. It's one of them busy Fridays. And so we end up going out of that neighborhood and we turn left. So this is where the incident comes where I had to jump. So going down that street, we're passing up, we're passing up Fitness One, passing up Circle K. So we're right there on Hill Street, the next gas station.
Yes, right across the street from where I live.
Yes.
I live on Countryside, right by Hill Street, right across from that gas station.
Okay, so right there, as we're driving, or he's driving, of course, screaming, hollering, let me out, blah, blah, blah. And I got out again. I tried to get out again. I actually happened to make it over at those apartments right across the street from Hill Street.
Okay. Yes.
That's, across the street from
exactly what you're talking
about. So the
about.
stackables right there?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So that's where I jumped. I jumped there. So it's like I had no other choice. I tried to figure out how to get away. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
But it was a split second. I don't think I was even thinking. I just knew I had to get out.
Right.
So, I jumped, and it's not even a jumping. The way that I like to describe it is that I opened the door and I rolled.
Okay.
I like to do it that way. I didn't necessarily like jump out. I opened the door and I rolled out, and I was, of course, got the road rash, all the burns, stuff like that on that leg, and
you're bleeding.
Well, this is the thing, though. Of course, I know about this, know about that, know about the bite. So I get out, and when I get out, he comes around. He goes down the street, goes around the gas pumps at that gas station, comes back around, and says, "Baby, are you all right?" Clearly, I'm not, but that's what he says. I mean, crazy, right? Crazy. So he asked me if I'm all right. So when he did that, I thought maybe he was going to stop and try to get me. I really did it at that moment. Like, get out of the car, park it in the middle of traffic, and come and pull me back in the car. But he didn't. But as soon as he said that, that's when I screamed and I ran. And I ran across the street. And there happened to be people over there getting gas, getting whatever. And I ran over there. Well, I did not know that I was bleeding until I got over there into that grassy part area of the gas station. And I didn't know because it was the adrenaline, right?
Yes.
Well, what happened is that when I rolled out of the car, he actually stabbed me in my back near my kidneys. So I have like a big gash. Yeah, well, not really big, but big enough.
Right.
Beside my kidneys. So if he would have hit that, because I already have kidney problems anyway. So it's like, if he hit that, it'd been something else. So I actually had his white T-shirt on, and I didn't know I was bleeding. So when the police and everything like that came, everybody that was there was calling the cops because they thought that I got hit with a car. Oh. They did not know that I actually rode out the car because it happened so fast. So people thought that maybe I got hit, but the people that was actually there, of course, at that gas station actually seen it. So what ended up happening is that I ended up going over there, but as I went over there, he ended up fleeing over to Maywood and stole gas in my vehicle. The vehicle that he was driving was my vehicle, and that's when they end up getting a call, not only from the scene that I was currently at, but from Maywood as well, because they called it in saying he stole gas. So that's why, okay, we know where he's at, goes here. So he ended up going on his way to E-Town. And they stopped him right before the exit, but he was driving on the wrong side of the road. He pretty much put a whole lot of people's lives in danger, trying to get away and fleeing. Yeah. But what they did notice was that he took, even though he got gas, he actually had a Gatorade bottle and poured gas inside the Gatorade bottle and was dousing it on himself. He was trying to kill himself after that happened. So they saw him doing that. Yeah, they saw him doing that, and but they eventually got him out of the car. And there's actually, if you go on Google and actually put up like his name, the description of what happened during that day, the year, and all that kind of stuff, it would actually bring him up where he's actually on the ground and the car in the background's in flames. Yeah. But people thought that that he actually was trying to burn me alive. But what people, because I said, I'm not making an excuse for him. I said, but he had every opportunity, with the gas stations that he passed up to get something, and then, whatever. But, he didn't. I mean, I don't know what he was going to do afterwards. I can't say that because I'm living to tell, the ending part of that journey that day with me. But yeah, he ended up getting locked up. But when it comes to crazy, I'm gonna call him crazy. I have every right to call this man crazy, but
we'll call him crazy.
A crazy, a narcissist, abusive, a con, everything else imaginable that he could be, a POS.
Yes.
He's everything. Yes. He's everything, yes. Right?
Amen.
When they end up rushing me to the hospital over at Flagey, they actually was able to get a hold of him and bring him to the hospital as well. So we was pretty much in there at the same time. He heard me screaming. I'm in shock. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just, I screaming. And my detective during that time, Detective Jody, hi, if you watching, hey. He was questioning him, and he actually asked him, or wanted him to tell me that pretty much he was sorry, but he asked him as well, is she okay? And I'm thinking to myself, like, no, I'm not okay. Like, you could have took my life.
Right.
But it's not just my life. You could have took the life of a mother.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like my kids could be motherless today.
Right.
And
you have the audacity to ask if I'm okay.
Like, man,
after inflicting what you did upon me.
Yes. And I didn't deserve none of that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't deserve none of that. Everybody wants to have love and peace and happiness. Everybody wants to be in a good relationship and be whatever and have the dreams and the hopes and the wishes for everything that you can imagine when it comes to relationship. Right. But you really don't know who a person is until you really, really deal with them, right? I didn't really know too much. Like, we've lost connection ever since, like I said, I've known him since I was 10, so we lost a lot of connection. Did I know that he was that crazy? No, I did not.
Capable of doing something like that.
I mean, like I said, he was good.
Yeah.
I didn't have to ask for nothing. Like, I come home, my house is cleaned up, dinner's cooked, and my kids are well taken care of. And, he even sent me a video when I was at work one time. They had him and the kids that did laundry and folded up, and he was like, look, mommy, we did it. This stuff like that. Like stuff that you kind of always want in relationship. And it didn't last. But who knows what would happen.
Right.
If it did.
Yeah.
And it's I don't mind, like I said, ever telling the story. Before I would black out, I didn't like it. Certain songs that he would dedicate to me, I would hear it, and I'm like, I can't hear this right now. And one of them, and I know there's a lot of people like this group, but talking about Jagged Edge, and the one was Promise, and
trigger,
gotta be, and all, trigger. It was definitely a trigger. I couldn't go down that street for a long time.
Okay.
I couldn't go to certain places, even if we went somewhere and nothing happened. No abuse, anything didn't happen. But
it's still linked.
I didn't like it.
Remembrance of.
I didn't like it. And there was people, and no disrespect to anybody that if they do remember me asking this, but there was people that actually asked me, would I go back to him? And, it's your business. Do what you want. You know what I'm saying? Y'all's about to get married. You know what? Marriage don't got a thing to do with it.
No.
When it comes to your life and your safety.
Exactly.
And you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It doesn't have anything to do with it. Is it hard to really get out of a relationship if somebody was married and, an abuse was carrying on? Of course, you got a whole lot to go through.
Right.
In order to get out of a marriage like that. But
it's such a blessing that it didn't lead there.
Oh, my God.
That it didn't make it there.
Right.
And what happened should have never happened, but it's a good thing that it didn't lead there because you deserve so much more than that.
So much more. Thank you for that. So much more. And, with the incidents and stuff that happened earlier in the year, no one knows. Okay, let me go back a little bit. because now I got a little story too. And I don't want to prolong it too much because I know she has some more questions. But I would like to say this is that, do you remember the Lifetime movie? They remade it not too long ago, but it's called No One Would Tell.
Yes.
I forgot her name. I think her name is Cameron, but I can't think of her last name. But she was on Full House.
Yes.
She was DJ.
Yes.
She was the person that played in that movie.
Yes.
And yeah, so a lot of her friends knew this. This is different for me, but a lot of her friends knew that, something wasn't right. She was getting abused.
Okay.
All that kind of stuff. And nobody would tell. And I'm not sitting here comparing anything that's happened earlier in the year or with myself, but I have a message behind it. And because there was something that a friend of mine on Facebook, friend in real life, friend on Facebook, currently going through something or whatever like that. And I would like to just put this message out there, and you can ask me the rest of the questions here in a minute. But if anyone is in a situation, if something just don't feel right, something just don't sound right, you don't see your friend, you don't see your sister, your brother, you don't see nobody really that often. They're not themselves. They're not this, not that. They're just not the same person as they would be 2 days ago.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? There's something that's going on, and
speak up.
You got to speak up. People say, check on your strong friends. They can be like they got everything going on and this, that, and other, but you know what? That's a mask, especially if you're going through something. It's a mask. And like I said, the first emotions that I felt was embarrassment and being ashamed, because a whole lot of people know that I don't take bull crap.
Right.
I don't take it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Strong, girl.
Yeah, I don't take a whole lot of stuff. Like, I open my mouth when it's necessary.
I can hold my own.
Yeah, and I've been for a very long time. Like, I love being independent, right? I love taking care of my children the way they need to be and stuff like that. So when you're going through something and you notice somebody also going through something, people are like, oh, that's her relationship. That's their relationship.
Not my business.
Not my business.
And it's not none of my business.
And we don't have village no more. And even back in the day, you watch movies and people are like, oh, you better get out of the relationship. That's their relationship.
That's their house.
But you know what's going to happen next? Somebody's going to go.
Yes.
Somebody's not going to be here no more.
Wish you had have said something.
Man, I'm trying to tell you. So I should have said something more, because that day I ended up calling, because that day when it happened, someone's like, well, do you have a number to somebody that you can call someone? And my mom happened to live right down the street from where I lived at behind 84. So I said, I want to call my mom. So I called my mom, and so she came and she's like, well, who did this? And I told her, I said, JR, and I don't care about mentioning his name. That was his nickname. But I said, JR did. And she said that she was ready to get one of the cops' gun and go chase him and go after me.
Right. That's your baby.
Have every right.
That's your baby.
Yeah. So, but I could have told my mom too. So by the time, I got out of the hospital, I'm all bruised up. You know what I'm saying? My black eye is now a black eye. Everything. My children did not know. I did not see my children. After that happened, I didn't see my children until after I got out of the hospital. They knew that I was in the hospital. They just didn't really know exactly what. But they knew that I got hurt by him. Okay. But they didn't know exactly what all was going on. Yes. So by the time I came home from the hospital, they was with their dad, and he brought them over, and then they saw what I looked like and everything. And, of course, they gave me hugs and stuff. And, my mom even asked him, hey, has he ever did anything to you? It don't matter what it was. Right. Sexual, anything. And they was like, no, he never did. He treated us really good. And like I said, those kids loved him. Yeah. And that's the messed up part about it, because, yeah, exactly. But I know I'm kind of rambling, but you have to really, you got to be there for your friends. You got to be there you just got to be there. Even that coworker that you really don't talk to that often, but in your gut something's not right. Mm-hmm. You got to speak up. And you don't have to go run and call the cops and be like, this is our address, go do a welfare check. But you could go to them and be like, if you ever need to talk to somebody, I'm here. Yeah. Because some people don't know that they can actually talk to somebody.
Yes.
You know, they literally do keep it in. They are literally embarrassed.
Yes.
They are embarrassed. They don't want people to see or know that you're getting beat on.
Some people, it's a sign of weakness.
Mm-hmm.
I know,
but you are never weak.
I experienced verbal and physical abuse, but it took me years to admit it. I was just like, no, girl, no, I've never been in a situation like that before. Yeah. And then finally I had to come to grips with it. You got hit in your mouth. You got hit in your mouth. And then you were subjected to verbal abuse for years, but you got used to it. And
it makes you feel like you're less than.
Yes.
And you're not.
Yes.
And you have to come to grips with that on your own once you start doing your healing. You know, I'm stronger than this. I am better than this. I know that I deserve so much more. I am loved and I can give love. You know,
I'm not what I'm going through.
I'm not.
I'm so much bigger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. But I'm here.
You're here to live and tell it. Look at that smile. Look at that smile. Let's see. Okay, so was he ever arrested and for a long period? Did he have to? No.
This is what happened. So he should have went to jail a lot longer than what he should have been, right? So they try to get him on kidnapping, and the kidnapping is where he pulled me back into the car, but that didn't set. So I forgot, oh my God, I forgot the charge that he ended up getting. Of course, he got the charges for, you know, I think he ended up hitting the police car, you know, of course, endangering other people's lives on the highway, stuff like that. I'm not even going to lie, I forgot the charge that he got for me.
So he didn't get like an attempted murder?
No. It was first attempted murder, but no, it was not. Pretty much if I was in bed and, because I asked my detective this, if I was literally in bed at the hospital fighting for my life, maybe on life support, I think I used those words, life support, then yeah. But because
you survived to tell
I think it was like more of just like a assault charge, but I can't remember exactly what that was. Yeah. So, you know what?
Yes, it's okay because karma is real. Yeah. And I'm a firm believer in LOA, law of attraction. I'm telling you now, what you put out comes back to you.
Yeah, and I think it definitely has. I think it definitely is eating them up or whatever. But the thing about it is, what a whole lot of people don't know is that I end up, he wasn't supposed to have no contact, right? No contact at all with the family. So right before I got sick in 2019, I've always been sick. Let me just put it that way. I've had a kidney disease since I was 15.
Okay.
It does run in the family and stuff like that. But that's a whole other subject. But 2019, I ended up getting sick again when it came to my kidneys.
Okay.
But before that, it was in September when that happened. But before that, in March, I was on Facebook and I got like a message, and it was actually a message in Messenger through his mom's
account.
And I thought it was her. I thought it was her. But it ended up being, later on down the road, I found out that he was actually home and he was using her account and tried to get a hold of me, and he's not supposed to. So, of course, I immediately did what I had to do, come over here to file and all that kind of stuff.
He just didn't want to let you go.
You got no other choice.
Yeah.
You got no other choice. But, so it took a little bit to serve him.
Okay.
Because he didn't do nothing but like 2 years. And then we were supposed to have done like 6, and he only did like 2.
If that don't tell you something's wrong with our system,
I'm trying to tell you.
I mean, and I'm on the for real. If that don't tell you something's wrong with our system, I don't know what does. Because how you could do that to somebody, you could get caught with a piece of weed and do 2 years. But to try and take someone's life.
Yeah, and then even when we went to court, because like I said, he ended up getting served. So he came down here, and we spoke in front of the judge or whatever to of course to grant the EPO. And he sat there and lied right there in front of the judge. I mean, it was on the news. I mean, my name wasn't on there because my mom listed me as an anonymous person. I think she listed me like Jane Doe, not Jane Doe, but it was like Jane something. Yeah, it was something,
right?
To where it shows that I'm not show where I was located, just in case his family or somebody was trying to come down, stuff like that. My, other parts of my family knew, so of course they came and visit and stuff like that. But he lied. I don't know there was no weapon. It was never found. But the reason why it was never found, after he stabbed me, he threw it out the window. When I rode out the car, I saw him throw it out the window. So he wouldn't have had it anyways, but I can describe it to you because it was a red pocket knife with 3 little silver circles on there. Like, I remember what the weapon was. He had it in his hand, He did that to me. So he tried to lie and said that he didn't do it. He's moved on. He's happy. Want nothing to do with her. And I'm like, I don't want nothing to do with you.
I don't want nothing to do with you.
Yeah,
but you serious?
It's crazy. So, because he was so evil. When he walked out of the courtroom with his girlfriend at the time, literally walked out smiling, like he did something, And the cop was right there beside me, and and my neighbor was too, and I'm ready to get up and just, I'm ready to fight you down. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. I'm
Tysha,
angry.
calm down. Tysha, calm down before you go to jail. I don't care about going to jail now, because he's sitting there smiling at me.
It's to be expected.
Yeah.
You have every right to be angry.
Yeah.
Every right.
I mean, he's sitting there smiling in my face like, what you did to me, right? So I go home and I'm crying, and it was a mess. But it was granted, of course. You can't go nowhere near me. You can't do this. You can't do that. There's actually some people in town that actually knew him, that was in jail with him. So there's actually some people in town that actually knew him. And some of them could not believe that he even did it. And again, you just don't know how people are. You can literally be happy and night and day. And I'm not wishing this on nobody, but you can have a perfect little relationship, but you probably got this little pedophile that likes kids.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And somebody snap.
Yeah. It's just a whole lot of different stuff that you have to think about. Yeah.
You just never know.
You never know. So, yeah, that happened. But, yeah, he didn't last long in jail. He ended up getting out, like I said, tried to get in touch with me. But he just lied. And, the girlfriend actually reached out to me. Well, not his ex now, or I don't know now, but then his ex, she said that at first he would tell her that he didn't do it. And then when he got on her and tried to do stuff to her, he used the B word, but he's like, I'll cut you like I did that B down there. So that's how she finally believed him.
Yes.
That, because she was like, oh, he didn't do this.
There's no way.
No way. But no. Yeah, because he was going to do something to her.
Oh, Lord, Tysha. Yeah. What a story.
Yeah. I got a testimony, honey.
I mean, honey, and you're living to tell it, and that just warms my heart. It just, oh, gosh, it just makes me so happy to see you here, standing strong, head held high, smile on your face.
Yeah, thank you.
Business growing. Speaking of which, so how did all of that shape you into the Tysha that you are now?
Well, not only that, but of course, my health. So, like I said, I had kidney disease since I was 15. And then in 2019, when I got real bad off sick, not only was it for my kidneys, but it was also because of my heart.
Okay.
So I have a type B aortic dissection, which I, eventually going to have surgery on pretty much soon. So pretty much I'm hemorrhaging from the inside around my aorta. Right. So I ended up finding that out back in 2019. So I was in ICU, for about a week or so. I always knew that I had something, right? I always knew the empathic part, the intuitive part. What I also do when it comes to my readings and stuff like that, You
always knew.
I always knew. And then the more and more y'all research, the Yocum girls actually has a gift. And so my cousin ended up telling me about her story when she went to go see someone, and she has said that the gifts that we have is located in the Yocum women's side of our lineage. So, and it's not like psychic or, I don't want to put that out there. I'm not psychic.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not psychic. I'm not a medium. But
how would you describe an empath?
I'm an empathic energy reader.
There we go.
I read energy. My gift's just very strong. It's like the more and more I connect spiritually, the more my gifts heighten.
There we go.
So,
and I'm a firm believer, honey. I wasn't raised that way. I was
definitely not raised that way.
I was not raised that way. I was ignorant. And the more I educated myself, the more I've done my research, the more I've understood my empathic abilities.
Yeah.
And I had a family member reach out to me, actually, because I would describe some of the things that I was experiencing. And finally, one day she reached out to me and she was like, have you ever heard of an empath? And I was like, no. And she was like, honey, you are empathic, and it runs in our family.
Yeah. But people have to understand too, let me just back up just a little bit, because when I got my spiritual healing, it was during a time where I did after I got sick, right? So I just like, I'm gonna tap in a little bit more,
right?
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you do it. Everybody needs some type of healing that makes them feel good in a certain way.
Yes.
Me, I like to connect with people, right? And I also like to just express myself in a certain way. Doing your research and having knowledge in spirituality. Now, I will say this. Before, yes, I was in church a lot. I was in church a lot, and I'm not going against anybody that goes to church. Nope. I swear to you. But a lot of stuff that I do, people think that I'm doing some type of evil work.
Right. Yes. No. She's telling the truth, because there's so many people that connected with that, and they're ignorant. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, you don't understand it.
You don't understand it. And
you're not educated.
Yeah.
In that area. So
well, this is the word that I like to use.
You're judgmental.
It's not even like, I wouldn't even use the word educated. Yes, education is involved. Knowledge is involved. Research is involved when trying to learn something like this, right? But when I explain myself to people and more in depth, as far as my spirituality, I am not religious. I am more spiritual.
There we go.
So, I have been asked plenty of times, Tysha, do you believe in God? And I'm like, yes, I do.
Yes.
But this is the part. I'm not in a religious man-made type of religious atmosphere.
There we go.
I am more into the spirit of God and what he created on this earth.
Yes.
Okay? So it's not saying that there is not a God, there's not a higher form of spirit. There definitely is. I'm just not doing it man-made wise.
There we go.
Okay, and the reason why I say that, is because, back when, we're going to go back to slavery, folks. So what I like to try to explain to people, and I'll try to be as short as I can, but hopefully it'll be making sense to a lot of you out here. Back in slavery, yes, there was a lot of, I don't know if I should say black people or just Africans, period, back in those days. But, there was a lot of black people that went against their own kind. There was a lot of them.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They either was, well, it's not either, but they was doing out of fear, survival. They wanted to try to protect their homes. So there was a lot of people that actually sold their own kind.
Right.
To, protect their own.
Yes.
Their own land or whatever like that. They was greedy. They was selfish. We got some greedy people in this world, and this happened a long time ago.
Right.
But we had our own quote unquote religion. Right? We had that. We had we had our own way of medicine. We had our own. We just had our own.
Yes.
We had our own. Okay, and what we did back then is what spirituality is coming to now.
Yes.
And when I was at and also again, happy anniversary, Miss Darlene. But when I was setting up, I had my booth set up, and there was an older black lady, and I don't know exactly her age. I've never met her before in my life, right? She came up to me and she was looking at my sage and my crystals, stuff like that, and she said, "Honey, you know that this is coming back, right?" And I said, "Huh?" And she's like, "You know this is coming back." She said, "We've been doing this.
Yes.
Black people has been doing this."
Yes.
And there's a lot of different ethnic backgrounds, that does this, but
speaking from our experience.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. She said, Black people has done this before and it's coming back. And she said, you're doing a good job. Keep doing it.
Yes.
And I said, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
Well, you're enlightening people.
Yeah.
A lot of people who don't know. Mm-hmm. You'd be surprised how many people don't have a clue. They don't know what an amethyst is. They don't know what sage could possibly do in their life.
Yeah.
They don't know.
Yeah.
And they need, like, I have a best friend that I've been learning. Mm-hmm. And I'm sharing it with her. Mm-hmm. And at first, her husband was just like, hold on now, we don't do no voodoo.
Yeah. Over and here. That's like, another thing, too. I do not do voodoo. But there is a big difference. I'm going to tell you this. Because I shared something on my account not too long ago. There's a difference between voodoo and hoodoo, okay? Mm-hmm. But y'all have to understand, too, that even though you think that voodoo is actually very, very evil, that was a lot of our own... That was another religion that Black people had to kind of create for them back in the day. It wasn't evil. It wasn't evil back then. You know what I'm saying?
It just got turned.
It turned that way.
It got turned.
But you guys have to understand. Yeah, definitely. And, people have to understand that when it comes to spirituality, there's a word that's called intention, right? So... depending on what you do and how you do it, you either coming from a bad place or you're coming from a good place. Yes. So if you see, people that does voodoo do something evil, they are coming from an evil place. Yes. But it didn't start that way. Right. It's what you make of it.
There we go. It's what you make of it. Yes.
So when people ask me about if I believe in God and this, that, and other, yes, I do. I come from a good place when I do my readings, when I talk to people. I come from a good place. When I do it with my crystals, it comes from a good place. Yes. People has to understand when back in slavery, because I'm going to go back to that, when people in slavery, when they came on this land, the reason why I say man-made, and not saying that you cannot believe in the Bible, so you guys do whatever you guys want to do.
Please do.
But there is a lot of stories that I've come across after I researched and actually spoken to a lot of different people, that a lot of things in the Bible, from my understanding, was not very, very true.
Right.
But there is a lot of things in there that is actually true.
Yes.
A whole lot of it's not. But what people have to understand, that when you used the word educated earlier, that people need to be educated, or they were not educated. What I like to use, was people were programmed.
There we go.
People were programmed. And the reason why I say that is because people were programmed back then out of fear. Mm-hmm. Right? So slave masters, they use certain scriptures in the Bible related to slavery and obey your master.
Yes.
So when it comes to their slaves, they use that
to manipulate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And so what did they do? They start creating their own church and forgot all about the religion that they learned in Africa. Okay. So that's how there's not a whole lot of languages. It's kept going through generations, because they had no other choice. So they started believing in God, and not saying that, they didn't get through what they needed to get through when it comes to praising God and stuff like that.
But it was inserted into them.
They were
programmed.
They was programmed.
And
they was programmed to. So it's hard to get out of something like that.
I see a lot of that today.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of that today. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm not telling you to not, because someone, like, I had a comment as far as on your post that you made for me. It says praise God. And I put on there praise God.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Praise God.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I praise God.
Yes. Amen.
I do. I really do. But I also, I'm like I said, I'm more spiritual than I am religious. I know that God created so much. So, like, when I share on my posts as far as like herbs and this and that, that's what we used back then. Mm-hmm. Indians, they used it. They had their own medicine. It wasn't pharmaceuticals. Mm-mm. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't drug related, what this man-made has created. Right. It was from the earth. So I spiritually show gratitude, and I show my love towards what God has created.
There we go.
He created me. He created you. This is what you can use to heal.
Yes.
A whole lot of people was like, oh, you can't use this nettle leaf. It just looks like weeds.
Yeah.
but actually you can use that, and you can use it in salad. You can use it as tea.
Yes.
You can do so much. And I just like to go back to what healing can do. And God always tells you to take care of yourself, right? And to love yourself first. So with my sickness and this, it led me to find myself more.
There we go.
You know,
I love it.
Not only with the domestic part, not only with my health, but okay, like you said, who is Tysha, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I've always been quiet in some type of way, shape, or form. You may not believe it, okay?
No,
you may not
I'm playing.
You may not believe it. But in certain situations, it always seems like that I couldn't talk or I couldn't express myself the way I wanted to.
There we go.
So when it comes to stuff like that, you know how you don't want to talk back to your mom. You don't want to do this with your family. You don't want to do this. You want to do that. For a very long time, it's like, oh, I'm not talking back to Bessie. I'm not saying nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it wasn't out of trying to be disrespectful to my mother, but it was, I have a voice. I'm a woman with kids, and I have a voice.
Yes.
And it wasn't nothing major, but it's like, I've always been told just to be quiet, let me speak.
Yes.
And it's like, you know what? No, it's my turn.
It's my turn.
It's my turn.
It's
So
my turn.
finding yourself and your voice and what you deserve in your life, it brings you to a mastery of self, and it brings you to your higher alignment. So being in this business, I tested myself out, and I was like, you know what? I want to speak to women. Mm-hmm. I want to speak to women, and I want to help. So, I kind of got pulled out of my shell doing certain things. I had like my first live, and it was just great. And I just kept talking and talking, and I kept doing things, meditating, yoga, drinking more herbal stuff, detoxing, reading more books.
Yes.
I've always been a reader, but it's like I wanted to be like, like this book right here that I have right here that I actually was selling, which is still available.
Yes.
It's not my book, but I do sell certain stuff. But, it's just, you got to find yourself.
Yes.
And you got to find yourself in some type of way where you're able to heal for yourself, but you can also heal somebody else.
I love it.
So that's how I got into that.
Okay.
That's how I got into that. And I'm sorry I prolonged it again, but it's like I have to make sure that I explain myself, because like I said, a whole lot of people don't understand, who I am and what I do. There's a lot of people that once I did come out and do a whole lot of stuff, because I've been doing it for the last 2.5 years. So the more I kept doing it, but I didn't know Tysha does this. You know what? I've always been into this, but I know her, so now I can relate.
Yeah. Or maybe now I might have a listening ear because it's someone that I know and I trust. And hold on, I might be, let me listen a little bit. Let me see let me tune in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when you was doing your lives and stuff and your readings and stuff, I was like,
how'd you feel about that?
I was so open to it because of the journey that I've been taking.
Okay.
And a lot of my friends and family members can't relate. I can't really discuss a lot of it with them. It just goes right over their head. They just don't have any interest nor understanding. But
that's where the interest lacks of, because there's no understanding.
There we go.
Yeah.
So I decided I was going to continue my journey regardless. And I still have so much more to learn, but I'm figuring out, like what you said, how I, Rita, can help heal others for the good with the gifts that God's given me. You know what I mean?
He's continuously giving. The gifts that God gives you, you do not want to leave it in the shell.
No.
And when I talk about blessings, this is I like to use analogies when I speak. Remember on Alice in Wonderland, and remember the oyster shells?
Yes.
Okay. In oyster shells, of course, there's pearls, right?
Yes.
Excuse me, there's pearls. And I like to use that that when people come to and actually figure who they are And when blessings are stowed upon someone, your blessings are is your pearl. Okay, God keeps you in that shell to mold you into something so beautiful, right?
Yes.
So when you finally get that shell open, your blessings are being shown.
Yes.
And then that's another thing too. Like, when you get blessings, you don't tell nobody about that pearl in that shell. Not until it happens, right?
Not until it happens.
Because God wants to protect your blessings.
Yes.
He wants to protect your blessings in so many ways. But it's like, I'm going to give you this pearl. I'm going to mold you. But I need you to do something for me first.
Right.
And that's to love yourself first. So having your gifts, God gave you that particular gift for a reason. So for you doing what you're doing, you not only are speaking for yourself,
right,
but you are able and you are allowing, God to use your voice in order to reach others.
That's what I want.
So, like, you bringing all the previous guests on, including myself and everybody else after me.
Yes.
Everybody else after me.
Yes.
God is using you, Rita.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
You.
He is using you, and let him continue use you. You are his pearl.
Well,
that was you know what I'm saying? You are his pearl that was created.
You'd be surprised how many people look down upon what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I know. They don't get it. They don't see it. And it's sad. I'm sad for them, but I'm not going to let it stop me. I refuse.
Yeah.
And it's actually giving me more fuel to keep going because I know this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
I know one day I will be on a stage motivating students. I will be speaking to kids. I will travel around the world and I will speak to people. I will tell my story and I will uplift and inspire. This is where I'm at right now. But I have a big road ahead of me, and I'm not going to let it stop. But that's enough about me. So tell us more about what we got going on here.
Okay, so this is my bracelets. Of course, I have plenty more. So I said plenty of more. And you may have stopped over at my booth over at Miss Darlene's anniversary, which was great. It was so great. I loved
Darlene.
I swear I loved it all, and I appreciate you so much for allowing me to step out my show, because I've done stuff like this, but I did like personal, like little parties or whatever. And my first one that I did was it was her breakup party, and I had already given her readings before, but it was like, girl, I done broke up. I listened to you, stuff like that. And I want you to come and give, I want you to come and give all the rest of my friends readings, and bring your stuff and all that kind of stuff. So it was great. So going to Miss Darlene's, it was. I was not just on Facebook. I was not just on Instagram. Like, people actually was able to come and, looked at my booth and asked me questions. And then I will, of course, either give a reading or just explain what I do, what these mean, what that means, all that kind of stuff. So that was, thank you so much. I really did appreciate that. So these crystals, again, stuff that's created from the earth, right? So each one has a meaning. And based on your intention, what you want to bring for yourself, you wear particular crystals, right? So, you got black obsidian, it repels negativity, all that kind of stuff, get that out of the way, you don't want that. So people will either wear it or they will carry the stone with them, just to kind of help.
Yes.
And, it's powerful in a sense, but the stuff that people hear when it comes to spirituality, they hear the word magic.
Right.
Spells, right? So to elaborate with the crystals with what I just now said, based on your intentions, if you want to feel like, you want to love yourself more, you're going to wear rose quartz. It's the intention behind it, right?
Yes.
So not only does it work with you internally and spiritually, with that, but it's like a representation. You know what? I got this rose quartz on.
Yes.
I need to love myself today.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, stuff like that. But, but I started getting more and more into that. So I started making my own bracelets. I started reading. So I do tarot and oracle spiritual readings. And then I also started doing my own spiritual counseling. So not only do I do all this and I read, but I actually got some more stuff coming up. So the spiritual stuff will lead you into a lot of journeys.
How do I'm interested? Okay, yes. So I'm this person that's tuning in, that's never heard of you, never seen your work,
right?
But I'm interested in a reading.
Right.
How do I contact you?
So you're more than welcome to contact me on Facebook, right? So Tysha Yocum, T-Y-S-H-A, YLCUM. Just contact me. But I have a Crown Spirit page, right? And that's where I'll put all my stuff at, which I got to upload some more. But Crowned Tarot, CROWNED Tarot is where you would book.
Okay.
And everything. You can message me, hey, do you have time for this, blah, blah, blah. Set up an appointment, go from there. And then, let's go back, let's keep doing it. So, I actually got one for tomorrow.
Awesome.
And everything. So, and I have some, throughout the week, but it's okay, I'm busy. Okay, yes. Let me get back to you this real quick, and I get it. But I try to be, definitely, have the communication with all my clients. And I love it because the clients, some of them be my first ones. And I just, I get nervous a little bit, but I love it at the same time because there be things that I would say, not saying that like I said, I'm not a psychic, but the energy feeling wise, when I read, I'd be like, hey, does this resonate with you? Does that resonate with you? Does this make sense to you? Stuff like that. And they'd be like, that happened, stuff like that. I'm like, okay. And then what I'll do when it comes to readings is that I will pray first. I light my sage. I light my Palo Santo. People that does not know about sage, it removes negative energy away from you. So you can literally, if you need to sleep, you can light it.
Yes.
If you need to cleanse your space.
Done that.
Yep. You got to cleanse your space. If you got somebody that was negative that just out there, just came in your house and they're gossiping and all that kind of stuff, you got to go. You got to go, right? You got to go. So I will use that, and then I will bring in Palo Santo. Palo Santo brings in the positive energy, right? Cleanses everything and brings us this good vibes. So I'll do that and I pray. And when I pray, not only do I pray to God, right? I'll say the universe. The universe has a lot of energy. I'm a big science person, okay?
Yes.
So if you got to pay attention to the laws, okay? There is laws to this.
I ran into her at a club, and we got on the topic of law of attraction. Everybody's out here drinking and dancing. And
here we are having
a deep conversation over the law of attraction and manifesting and science and this, and that. But it shook me to the core to know that I had somebody I could talk to about it.
Yeah.
That gets it.
Yeah.
That was so refreshing to me. And that's when I was like, me and Tysha have got to have an in-depth. Yeah. Well, anyways, so we're running out of time. She's going to read me off camera. So sorry that you have to miss out. But I want you all to really reach out to Tysha because she has a gift. And she will be able to help you heal in some shape, form, or fashion.
Yes.
And I believe that's something we all could use. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And people reach out to me a lot, sometimes people will reach out and say, I really need to talk to you, or I really need something. And sometimes I'd be like, you know what? Without no charge, I will do this for you. Sometimes people just need someone, right? And I'm not perfect, you know what I'm saying? But I can at least assist in some type of way, shape, or form, get you to a certain path. Okay, you know what I'm saying? And get you somewhere, because that's why I named my reading towards the end. I use the terms life path guidance.
I love it.
Life path guidance. So look out for some more stuff because I actually have a new business venture coming up. So I want to put this out there real quick, okay? So not only do I do this, not only do I speak to people one-on-one, not only do I do my readings, because spiritual counseling is definitely different from the readings, right? So... And not only do I, have my jewelry and all that kind of stuff and make my bracelets, but I actually have a teaching course coming up to where there's actually going to be modules. There's going to, the whole thing. And there It's called Healing Boundaries.
Oh,
Okay.
I love it.
It's called Healing Boundaries, and it just helps those that has been in any type of traumatic triggered moments.
Yes.
Move forward in their healing growth.
Yes.
You know, and be placed on their path. So it doesn't matter what it is, because I'm all ace of trades, right? So domestic violence, the spirituality, sickness, you know, because I'm sick. I mean,
Yes.
I don't mind to say that at all.
Trauma.
Yeah, the trauma, and then I also have an autistic child.
Awesome.
So I'm also, you know, bringing them in that type of situation if they need help with that. You know, being a single mom. There's so many things that I can help women with. And you know, at the end of the day, it's not just for women, because you have single dads.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
I have men, believe it or not, I have men that has readings, that has talked to me and stuff like that. So be on the lookout for Healing Boundaries. It is a course, a teaching course for women to find their way on their spiritual journey, but it's also for those that has went to a certain point in their life, if they also want to be somebody in my shoes to help the next person as well.
Yes.
So I'm also going to be able to teach that as well. So I got a lot of stuff.
Yay, y'all better keep up with her. Y'all better keep up with, she's making big moves, y'all.
Yes, I am.
She is making
Thank
big
you so
moves.
much.
I'm so excited to have you
praise,
here.
I swear.
I am.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are so
I really
welcome.
appreciate it. I
You
love
are
telling
so
my stories.
welcome. I
Thank you.
love it. I love it. And
Thank
I'm
you.
ready for my reading. I am. So before I go, you already know you are smart. You are wise. You are worthy.
Yes.
Believe it, boo, because it's true.
Yes.
See you next week.
Bye, you guys. Love yourself first.
Yes.
Self-love
Yes.
is best love, y'all.
All right. Hey, hey, hey. Me, Sharii.